Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to this Health and Style Club live masterclass on how to create a life you love. I am so happy that you are joining me this evening, and if you are watching live then hello, and please send in some hearts and likes so that we can get the Facebook algorithms working. Tonight then, we are going to be talking all about how to step out of a life on autopilot and into one of purpose, and the things that you can do, no matter how overwhelmed or frustrated you might be feeling with life right now, the things that you can do to kickstart creating a life that you love. So in case we haven't met, my name is Sarah. I am the founder of the online platform called A Simple and Contented Life, a site that is all set up to help women to reduce the overwhelm, to take back control and make family life less stressful and more enjoyable. And I'm also the author of this month's masterclass on how to create a life you love. So who am I to be talking to you tonight about how to create a life you love? So if we haven't met already, like I said, my name is Sarah, and I have spent the majority of my working life coaching, mentoring others in one way or another. My background is very much in project management, contingency management and planning, and that means that I love an excuse to plan and organise. I have qualifications in psychology, leadership and event management, and in my life before my children, I had my own event management company. These days though, life is all about family, my family, and helping you to create a life that you love too. So I'm a proud mum, besotted wife. I'm also the owner of a friendship hut called Arthur, and when I'm not working, you will find me in my favourite Starbucks, cut up in a chair with a hazelnut latte in one hand and a book in the other. So that's pretty much me. My backstory is that in April 2016, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was a diagnosis that was completely out of the blue. It totally turned our world upside down overnight, and at the time, we had no idea what the outcome was going to be, and thankfully I made it through to the other side. But there was one moment, one evening, where I was laying there on the sofa and listening to my husband put my boys to bed and not being able to be a part of that. And it really made me realise what life would be like for them if I didn't make it through. And so I made a promise to myself that night that whatever happened, I would fight. And if I made it through, I would do the best that I could to slow things down and to create that life that I loved, and to create something that I didn't want to take a vacation from, and to make a priority all of those things that mattered. And so that's where Simple and Contented Life was born from, because I wanted to help others to do the same. And since that, it's been going from strength to strength, and everywhere helping women to just make family life and life in general less stressful and more enjoyable. And so that was the purpose of this masterclass this month, is to just help you take some steps to reduce that overwhelm, to take back control and create a life you love. Because whatever you're going through right now, however frustrated you might feel, however overwhelmed you might be, however much you can be spinning all of your plates and spinning in circles, there are things that you can do to make a change for the better. And whilst it might not feel like it, I promise you that there are. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to spend about half an hour just going through some simple steps and strategies that will give you some practical things that to take away tonight that you can use to kickstart creating that life you love and make a change for the better today. So if you've got any questions as we go through, please pop them in the comments. If you're watching, please say hello, and I will try and keep an eye on the comments as they're scrolling through. If they come up at the right time, I'll try and answer them there and then. Otherwise, I'll catch on to them at the end of it and go through and answer them for you. So what we'll do then, we are going to go through the 3 pillars that make up a simple and contented life, and I'm going to share with you how, if you focus on those 3 pillars, why they're so key, what they are, and how by focusing on them you can create that life you love, whatever situation you might be in. And then I'll look at the 3 questions to ask yourself before you make any changes to your life, and then 3 quick things that you can do to instantly reduce overwhelm, because it's all very well talking about how to do all of this and how to create a life you love, but if you are so completely overwhelmed and you are just spinning in circles and you don't know where to start, it can be incredibly overwhelming. And so I've got 3 very quick tips for you that I'm going to share that are going to help you to quickly just reduce a bit of that overwhelm so that you can start focusing on the areas that you want to focus on. And then after that, we'll take a very quick deep dive into each of the pillars so that you can come away with some hands-on tips and strategies to start kickstarting creating that life you love and head into 2019 ready to make it your best year yet. So the 3 pillars that make up a simply contented life then, they are love yourself, love your family, and love your home. I've got my notes here because I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. So each of them, they make up the foundation of a simple and contented life, but they also make up the foundation and the key players in the journey to creating and living a life that you love. Your jobs, your relationships, your family, and your friends, your spiritual development, your finances, everything is dependent upon those 3 pillars. And if you're to be truly happy, if you're to find yourself living that life that you love, you need to focus on all 3 of those pillars: the love yourself, the love your family, and the love your home. Because if you don't, if you neglect one of those, though, the pillars will crumble and you won't get to where you want to be. And your dream life, that life you love, will be just that. It will stay a dream. And so the 3 pillars, your life is a lot like a home. If you imagine the construction of your home and that it has the 4 walls and the roof, and the walls keep you warm and dry and safe, and the roof holding you on keeps you warm and dry. Without the walls, the roof would just cave in. And it's exactly the same for the pillars. Those 3 pillars represent the walls of your life, and each one of them, whilst they're important within their own right, are all critical on working together to create that life that you love. And you need to nurture all of 3 of them to flourish and grow and find yourself living the life that you desire. And just like your garden, if you nurture them and you water them and take care of them, they will flourish and they will bloom. So as we go on tonight, I'm going to dive deep into each one of those in turn, but I just wanted you to be aware before we start of what it is that those 3 pillars are. So it's to love yourself, love your family, and love your home. And switching things up to create a life you love isn't as complicated as you might think. It can feel pretty overwhelming and it can feel pretty scary because you have lots of things that you may be forced to address that you've been avoiding, that you know you need to tackle. And it forces you to be really honest about what you really want from your life. But it's not as complicated as you might think. And by addressing each of those pillars in turn and taking care of each one of those, you can create, and it is possible by making a few tweaks here and there to create that life that you love. So I'm not saying that all areas of your life isn't great already, but I'm sure there are parts of it that you would like to tweak here and there. And that's what we're going to look at tonight. And at the end of this, you'll come away knowing which one of those pillars is the one that you want to focus on the most to start with and that you know needs the most attention. Before we do that though, before you make any changes to your life, there are 3 questions that you need to ask yourself first, because it's all very well diving into and just switching things up and hoping that it'll make a change for the better. But if you don't know why you're changing things and what you are trying to achieve by doing it, and just asking yourself those questions first, then you could just be stabbing in the dark and just making changes for the sake of it. Nothing happens and you don't get the results that you want. So you just give up and you just continually spin in those circles for the rest of your life, never really gaining any traction or starting to make a headway towards those changes that you want to make. So before you do anything and start switching things up, the 3 questions you need to ask yourself. First one is, why do you want to change things? What is it that's prompting your need for a change, and what frustrates you most in your life, and what leaves you feeling frazzled and frustrated, exhausted and overwhelmed? Because once you understand what it is that is frustrating you, annoying you, and why you want to change things, then you've got some kind of direction that you can start working towards of how to figure out what you then need to do next to actually make it happen. If you haven't taken the time to think about those things, then it's like getting into your car and just heading off down the road, not having a direction and not having plugged your final destination into the sat-nav. You're just driving, hoping for the best. And it's the same with your life. If you don't stop to think first about what you want and why you want it and plan that route, it's going to be the same. So the first question is, why do you want to change things? What is it that's frustrating and annoying you, that's prompting your need to switch things up? And then what differences do you hope to achieve as well? So ask yourself that too. When you're thinking about why you want to change things, what the difference is that you're hoping to achieve by switching things up. And then when you understand your why, start thinking about the second question, which is what do you want to change? Because once you know why you're changing things, you then need to look at all of the areas in your life and all the different areas I was just saying that fit under those pillars of the areas of your family, your finances, your work, your relationships, your health, your spirituality, all of those. Assess what it is that is annoying you and frustrating you in those, and then ask yourself what you want to change about it. And that means really being honest and diving deep and asking yourself what is working, what isn't working, what can you change and what can't you change. Because not every aspect in your life, as much as you want to, you will be able to change. There will be some areas that you have no control over, and you just need to accept that that is the case with those. And that sometimes that can be the hardest part, is just accepting that those areas can't be changed. And once you've done that, you can move on from that and you can find ways to deal with it. And that can also help to just make life less stressful and more enjoyable for you. And just by freeing yourself to and giving yourself permission to understand that you can't make any changes with those, and then you can focus on the things that you do have control over and that you can change. So question 2 is, what do you want to change? Question 3 to ask yourself is then, are those changes realistic? Because are they just pie in the sky? Are they ones that you would love to do, but there's just absolutely no way that you could make them happen? And, you know, like emigrating to another country or something, but you just know that it's not feasible, or living in a different area, but your kids are at school somewhere. And so it may be that as much as you want to make those changes, that it's just not possible for you to do that at this moment in time. And so ask yourself and work out if they're realistic by whether they require time and money, support from your spouse and family, additional educational information. It could be that one of the changes that you desperately want to make is that you're unhappy in your job and that you want to start a new career, but that could mean that you have to then find yourself a new course to take or something like that, that also needs and requires finances too. So asking yourself what kind of additional resources it might need, and things that need to be in place before it can happen too as well, and working out whether those changes are realistic, so that you're not hanging on to something that you know is never going to happen, and you can focus on things that are actually capable for you to happen, for you to actually make and achieve. And sometimes the path that we want to take isn't always as crystal clear as we think it's going to be. And back to the analogy of being in the car and driving and having that sat nav, that sometimes we get roadblocks along the way and we need to just figure out, and you can have your final destination of what you want to achieve, and it may be as you go along, when you start working on those changes, that you realize they're not realistic and you have to find a different path. So just ask yourself if those changes are realistic. Okay, so that's the 3 questions to ask yourself before making any changes to your life: is why do you want to change things? What do you want to change? And are those changes realistic? Once you've done all of that, though, that can leave you feeling incredibly overwhelmed, because suddenly your mind is just full of all of these things that you want to change, and all of these things that you want to ramp up or get rid of and drop, and new goals that you've realized that you've wanted to start achieving, and you've got absolutely no idea how to do it. And with all the normal running of the mill day-to-day things too, it can leave you feeling incredibly overwhelmed. So before we dive into the 3 pillars, I just wanted to share with you 3 very quick things that you could do tonight, right away, that will very quickly help you to deal with and reduce the overwhelm and instantly make life less stressful, so that you are then free to start thinking about all those changes that you might want to make heading into 2019. So the first one is to eliminate the unessential, because there is a lot of things going on in our lives that we might feel are important or that we think we should be doing, but they're not actually essential. And if we dropped them, it wouldn't really matter. It would free up our time. We wouldn't feel so stressed. We wouldn't feel that we have so much going on all the time, that all those balls are up in the air and we're juggling them, and we're hoping and praying that one of them doesn't come crashing down. So by eliminating the unessential, that can really help to make life less stressful. So how do we do that? The best way is to do a mind dump. And I am a massive, massive fan of doing mind dumps. Anytime I'm feeling stressed, anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed, the first thing I do is I do a mind dump. And it's just a simple case of grabbing a piece of paper and just writing down every single thing that you can possibly think of that is annoying you, that is frustrating you. that you know you need to do, all of those little tasks and jobs that you keep thinking, I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do it, I know I need to do it right now, but I haven't got time. And all of those things that you are thinking that you want to do and that you need to do and that you want to plan and organize and arrange and are just spinning in your head and completely overwhelming you, that you're trying to remember, write it all down, write everything down, and then grab a pen and go through it all and highlight all of those things that you must do in one color, all the things that you need to do or should do in another color, the things that you like to do in a different one, and then a big fat red marker through all of the things that are unessential. Scrap out all of the things that you know that you don't need to do right now, and if you did them, nobody would notice them being doing, means that you don't need to do them, so you can free yourself of those as well. And just read back through that list and figure out what is unessential and just scrap it, throw it away, just get rid of it, and give yourself permission that you don't need to do it and that it's okay. And if you want to pick it up later on, then you can do, but for now, just do that exercise to eliminate the unessential. And then with it being so close to going into the new year, look at that list and say, right, those things that are on there that are important, I need to get those done before the end of the year or before the end of January. And then the next batch of items on the list of the should do's, but they're not important or urgent right now, let them wait until next year and free yourself of that you don't have to worry about those things right now, especially when you've got Christmas going on at this time of year too, with everything else, and trying to think about all the things that you want to plan and organize, arrange and do coming up to Christmas. You don't need all those extra unessential things just pecking away inside you, knowing because you haven't done them yet. So they can wait. Free yourself of them and get rid of them. Eliminate the unessential is the first step to reducing overwhelm and taking back control. The second step is being mindful of what you say yes to, because we don't have to say yes to everything that we think we do. And we don't, as human beings, it's our nature to want to please everybody and help everybody and be there for everyone. But we have only got so much time. We have only got 24 hours in the day. We have only got so much mental and physical energy to be able to take care of everybody else, including ourselves. And if we say yes to too many things and we cram our diaries with too much, then we are just left completely exhausted and frazzled and with no time to do anything. And so be mindful of what you're saying yes to can really help to reduce that overwhelm. And it's not easy saying no to things, and I hands up admit that it is terrifying for me, and I want to please everybody and I want to do everything, and saying no sometimes can be hard because you feel like you're letting people down, you feel like you're going to disappoint, and sometimes by saying no we can feel like we're going to be missing out on something as well. So that FOMO kicks in, and that makes us say yes to, and we don't really have the time or capacity or energy to actually deal with it. So by saying no, that can really help just free ourselves up. And I know particularly at this time of year, the temptation is to fill and cram our diaries and leave no room for ourselves because we want to see everyone in the holiday season. But we can't do it all. It's not possible. And by saying no to a few things, then it leaves us free to be able to deal with a few other things and to just have time to breathe as well, because sometimes we cram our lives with everything so much that we don't even have time to breathe, never mind anything else, and certainly not think about what we have to do. And sometimes things can become so overwhelmed that we can't see the wood for the trees. And so by not taking on every commitment that comes our way, we are free to then actually just give ourselves a little bit of breathing space to do other things. Now, it's not easy saying no. So if it's something that you struggle with, then just try it with small things at first and build up from there. And you don't have to say no right away. You can say something to somebody along the lines of, I'm not sure right now, I haven't got my diary with me, I just need to check, and I'll get back to you and I'll let you know as soon as possible. I hope that's okay. And then that just gives you a little bit of breathing space. It breaks it in gently, and then you can go back and say, I'm really sorry, I thought I could do it, but I'm not going to be able to. And it gets easier the more times that you do it. And also, the thing to bear in mind as well is that if you're saying no now, it doesn't mean necessarily that it's a no forever. It could just mean no right now, not right now. And it means that you can pick it up later on, and maybe the next time around it comes up, you can say yes to it. So the second step to reducing overwhelm and making life less stressful is being mindful of what you say yes to. The third step is do what you know makes life easier. And it's a really obvious one, but we are all guilty of this. We are all so guilty of thinking, oh, not right now, I'll do that later. Or I know that if I did that now, it would make my morning so much easier, but I'm tired, so I'm going to go to bed. And, I really can't be bothered to do the washing up tonight. All those kind of things. If we just did them when we needed to do them, it would make life so much easier, because we are saving ourselves from a lot of unnecessary stress and a lot of unnecessary pressure too. Because by having all those little things hanging over us all the time that we know would make our life easier, like getting things ready the night before and getting all of your kids' stuff sorted before school the following morning, or if you're going away on a business trip, having it all packed and starting packing a couple of days earlier than saving it until the night before. All of those kind of things can really help and make life less stressful. And they're half the time, most of them would only take 2 or 3 minutes. Things like phoning the doctors to get the appointment booked in, or phoning the opticians and booking the vets for your pet's vaccine. All of those things take 2 or 3 minutes, but all of them as well, we are so guilty of thinking, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. And they just build up and up and up, and they play a massive part in contributing to making us feel overwhelmed and life feel stressful. So the third step to reducing overwhelm is to doing what you know makes life easier. So the 3 steps again then are: eliminate the unessential, being mindful of what you say yes to, and doing what you know makes life easier. And if you focus on those 3 particularly from tonight, if you take nothing else away from this tonight, focus on those 3 things, because they are guaranteed, especially in this busy season, to really give you a quick kickstart to creating that life you love, and to just reduce that overwhelm and help you to take back control. So with those all out of the way, let's take a quick dive into the 3 pillars. The first pillar is love yourself, and that sits as the central column. If you imagine a big Greek or Roman Colosseum with 3 pillars and a great big roof across the top of it, the roof across the top that's being held up by those 3 pillars is that life that you love. And that is the life that you're aspiring to live in. And the 3 pillars underneath support that: the love your family, love your home, and love yourself. And the love yourself sits as the central pillar because it is the most important. The others are important too, but everything starts and ends with us. And if we don't focus on ourselves, and if we don't do what we need to do to make ourselves happy first, then we've got no chance of looking after our family or anyone around us, or actually making any of the other changes we want to make to live that life we love. We have to put ourselves first, and we have to take care of ourselves. And that's why the love yourself one is the central pillar. So let's take a look at that in more detail. The idea of the central pillar of loving yourself then is to put yourself first. And we know that making your well-being is high on your list of priorities, but we're so busy taking care of everyone else that we don't do it. And the main reason for that is that we feel guilty about taking care of ourselves, and it gets pushed to the bottom of the list because we feel like if we are taking care for ourselves, and that it is selfish to take care of ourselves too, that by focusing on ourselves and using time we have to look after ourselves, that we're neglecting our responsibilities and we're not taking care of those around us. But actually, the complete opposite is true. There is nothing selfish about self-care, and we have to put ourselves first, because if we don't, my favorite analogy is the mobile phone and our cars, because we wouldn't carry on using our mobile phones if we didn't charge them, and we wouldn't be able to continue driving our cars unless we refilled them. And it's exactly the same for ourselves. We have to fill our cups up first before we take care of anyone else. So the main focus on the love yourself pillar is your self-care. But as well as that, it's also about taking care of yourself outside and in, and learning to recognize when you're feeling stressed and burnt out, and putting those first too. And then also focusing on what you want from your life, because there is a huge difference between fulfilling our roles and fulfilling our purpose, and feeling fulfilled. And we have all these roles to play. We're mums, we have our own businesses, we are wives and partners and daughters, aunts, nieces, nephews, grandpa, and everything. But they are roles that we fulfill. And sometimes we can feel guilty that isn't enough, that by fulfilling those roles that we there's something wrong with us if we're feeling guilty about the fact that we're still not feeling fulfilled. And there's a difference between fulfilling those roles and feeling fulfilled in ourselves, because we are also individual human beings with our own hopes and dreams and our own goals. And it's important, if you're going to nurture this pillar, that you focus on those areas too, because then if you are truly happy in yourself, then you're in a much better position to start creating that life that you want with everybody else around you. So that is that central pillar. Is first the 5 things that you can do to nurture that pillar is first to stop feeling guilty about putting yourself first and making yourself a priority. And then the second is to actually make time for you. So have a look at your diary and put time in to see yourself, and make it non-negotiable. Put it in your diary and treat it like you would a doctor's or dentist appointment, because you wouldn't cancel those. So don't cancel time with yourself. And if you have it in the diary first, you can then go back to, like I was saying earlier, about being mindful of what you say yes to. And if you haven't got time for it, you can say no, because you need to make time for yourself and honor it and enjoy it. So make time for yourself as well. And then take care of yourself outside and in. Start your day as you mean to go on. And a great way of doing that is with having habits. And that's having things day in, day out that you practice that will help you to, 1, become the best version of yourself, but 2, take the best care of you inside and out too. And that is things like eating healthier, choosing fresh meals over processed foods, planning your meals in advance, and upping your water intake, adopting the Amish hour, which if you haven't tried before is really effective, of unplugging and having a digital detox an hour before you go to bed every night, just to give yourself a chance to unwind and relax. And then doing things that relax you, things like whether it's playing music or having a long hot bath before bed, journaling, practicing gratitude, all of those things are really key to helping you nurture that pillar of loving yourself. The next step is clearing the mental clutter, and I've talked a bit about that already before in reducing your overwhelm, with the first step of eliminating the unessential. And the best way of doing that is by doing a mind dump. But it's the same, it doesn't necessarily have to be when you're just feeling overwhelmed. Anytime you want to figure anything out or work something out or work through something and you can't see the wood for the trees, the best way to do that is to get rid of that mental clutter and to just write everything down and just do a mind dump, and then repeat it whenever you need to. I said earlier that I do it all the time, and I do it at the beginning of the month when I'm working out my goals. I'm doing it whenever I have to plan or organize something and I've got something coming up. I will do a mind dump, and it just helps me to reduce the mental clutter. And then learn to recognize your stress triggers. Listen to your body, because I know that when I'm feeling stressed or tired, I start to get headaches. I don't sleep very well, and I know that, and unfortunately for my family, I get cranky and I get stroppy with them. And that's usually a good time and indicator for me that I need to start taking things back a step. I need to start saying no. I need to create more time for me, and I need to give myself a rest. And so I'll start drinking more water, and I'll go to bed earlier for a few nights, and it helps. But those warning signs are our body's way of telling us that we need to slow down. And if we're going to look after that pillar of ourselves, looking after ourselves, we need to make sure that we're listening to our bodies and doing what we know our bodies are telling us to do. And sometimes that does mean taking a break and having a rest. But the majority of everything that we think we should be doing will still be there waiting for us afterwards. So it's important that we give ourselves time. So those are the steps for nurturing that love yourself pillar. That is, stop feeling guilty about putting yourself first, making time for you, taking care of yourself outside and in, clearing the mental clutter, learning to recognize when you're feeling stressed or burnt out, and then also think about what your hopes and dreams are, and don't be afraid of pursuing them, because there is a big difference between fulfilling your roles and feeling fulfilled in yourself. And it's important that you have both of those if you're going to create that life that you love. So the next one, the second pillar, is love your family. And that is all about loving the way you live together. Your life is your family. And whatever your family life looks like for you, is nurturing that and being happy about how your family unit functions and operates. It's about recognizing what really matters and shifting your priorities so that you're focusing on those. And I have 4 ways that you can do that. And we're just going to go through those quickly. The first one is appreciating that family life that you already have. And whilst everybody's family is different, and while sometimes you can feel like you're banging your head against the wall because the kids won't do as they're told and they do nothing but argue and everything else, but actually there is so much already that you can be grateful for and appreciate within your own family unit. And when you think and take some time honor those and just think about those, you realize that you're already far richer than you first thought. And that is a great way to instantly make life better, is to just think about what you already have to be thankful for. The second way is to use routines to make life run smoother. So things like when I was saying earlier about doing what you know makes your life easier, that includes routines. So routines like a school morning routine or an evening routine and a bedtime routine. Make things routine and stick to them, because that will make life a lot less stressful. And when your kids know what they're doing and it's routine for them and it becomes second nature for them, they just accept that that's how it is and they get on and do it, and life does become a lot less stressful around the home. The third one is to make spending time together a priority. And it's so easy on the weekends, particularly, that you have all these good intentions of all the things that you want to do together, but life gets in the way and there's all the jobs and all the washing and everything else that you need to do, and you just think, oh, I'll just do that. And before you know it, the weekend has gone. And so it's about being more intentional with your time and nurturing that love your family pillar, is making priority for those things that matter to you and the quality family time that matters to you, rather than worrying about all the little things that you think you should be doing. So claw back time when you can, and things like after school, making use of that golden hour. There's that little hour between when they get in from school before you need to start thinking about the dinner, bath, bed routine. And that is a perfect opportunity to spend quality time together and get them down and play on the floor with them. And I know for me with my youngest, that when I do that with him and he's had a few minutes of my attention, it's so much easier then to get other things done afterwards, because he's had a bit of mummy time and he's quite happy to look after himself for a little while so I can get other things done. But it's about being intentional about how you use that time and making spending time together a priority. And like your self-care, treat that as a priority and a non-negotiable in your diary too. Put time in and make it happen and stick to it. And then lastly is to let the little things go, because we all have things around the home that niggle us and drive us crazy. But for an easier life, a more peaceful life, it is easier to just let them go and to not let them worry us, because they're things that bug us, but they don't bug anybody else. And if we take a leaf out of our own kids' books of the things that don't worry them, then it can really help us to just reduce that overwhelm and to not feel so stressed by things. And a prime example for me is that I always wanted to, before, would straighten the cushions before we left the house, and it would drive my husband nuts. But I don't do that now. I let it go. It's fine. It's okay to straighten them when they come back in again. So let the little things go. So the 4 things then, quickly again, to lead a happier family life and to nurture that love your family pillar, or appreciate the family life that you already have, use routines to make life run smoother, make spending time together a priority, and let the little things go. So the final pillar then to kickstart creating a life that you love is to focus on your home, because your home is all about the 4 walls that you live in, and it's the place, they're supposed to be a place of comfort and joy and a place that we come home to at the end of the day. And so you need to love the home you live in as well as everything else in your life if you want to live a life you love. So 5 ways for you to love the home you live in very quickly is to be thankful for the 4 walls you already have. Like I was saying about appreciating the family life that you have, there is already so much to be thankful for with the 4 walls you have too. You might not feel that there is, or it's easy to walk around and look at how tired things are looking and things like that, but there is so much to already be thankful for. Second one is to claim your home as your own and just do things to make you feel like it's yours. Whether you're staying for the long haul or you're moving in 6 months' time, there are plenty of things that you can do to claim your home as your own, whether it's putting up pictures or nice ornaments you love and things like that. So ask yourself and go from room to room of what it is that you could do to just make it feel more like your home. Give each room a purpose and give your home some TLC as well, and just go around and touch up and do all those little jobs that have been niggling at you that bring you down, because it may take a couple of weekends to do it, but you will feel so much better when you have done it. And then my favorite last one is making sure that everything has a proper place, because if everything has a proper home, you have less clutter and it doesn't get in such a mess. So I've kind of whizzed through those ones because I'm mindful of time, and I know I've already gone over a couple of minutes there, so I'm going to try and wrap up soon. So I don't want to keep you all night. But the 5 ways to love your home and nurture that love your home pillar are: be thankful for the 4 walls you already have, to claim your home as your own. The third is to give each room a purpose and make use of the space you have and try and sort it so that it helps you function and helps you operate as a family. Give your home some TLC, and lastly, make sure everything has a proper place. Okay, so very quick whistle tour through those 3 pillars. If you wanted to dive deeper and you haven't checked out the masterclass yet for this month, then head on over into the Health and Style Club. You need to be a member to be able to access those, but we'll put a link into the comments when you finish to sign up. And inside that, you'll find that there are 2 other masterclasses in there already. And there's workout videos, recipes, personal styling courses, and all kinds of other fantastic, amazing things that are really going to help you to just take better care of yourself and create a life that you love. So definitely go and check those out. And when you're in there, check out the masterclass for this month as well, because you'll find videos in there that will deep dive you into all of this a lot much more detail than what I've gone through tonight. But I hope that there are some bits and pieces from this that you can take now that will help you to just make a few changes, so that come the start of 2019 you're heading into the new year with clear focus and direction on the kind of things that you want to achieve next year, to not only make 2019 your best year yet, but to also start living that life that you love. And so I hope that's been okay. I hope it's helped. If anybody has got any questions, pop them in the comments and let me know. And I'm gonna have a quick check. There's nothing there yet, but I will check back throughout the evening tonight. And if anybody pops any comments in, I will do my best to answer them. And so I hope that has helped. And just to quickly recap, remember the 3 pillars of a simple and contented life are loving your home, loving yourself, and loving your family. Focus on those 3 pillars, nurture them, and you will create a life that you love. And anytime you're feeling overwhelmed and can't see the wood for the trees and are really struggling, take a few minutes to just eliminate the unessential by doing a mind dump and writing everything down and getting rid of everything that you want. Then be mindful of what you say yes to, and just spend a few time over the next few weeks whenever anyone asks you what you want to do, of do I have the time for this, and feel free to say no. And then lastly, do what you know makes life easier, because of anything else tonight, those 3 things are key to helping you to reduce the overwhelm, to take back control, and make life less stressful and more enjoyable. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I will keep an eye on the comments this evening and answer back if anybody gets any questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you check out the masterclass in the actual Health and Style Club site, because it's great there along with all the others too. And I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.